Hello YouTube, welcome to Comprehensive Outdoorsman. I'm Jeff Hale and this channel is made to help you become a more comprehensive outdoors person, hunter, or fisher. So today I'd like to talk about hunting with a shotgun. Now I live on an island here in the Pacific Northwest, and on this island there are a lot of black-tailed deer. And the problem is, though, it's kind of suburban, and we have some parcels of land that are 5, 6, 7, even 10 acres, some parcels that are 2.5, and a lot of parcels that are half an acre. In a suburban slash rural area like this, it's against the law to, on this island, use a modern rifle. But you can use archery, a handgun, a muzzleloader, or a shotgun. Now let's talk about archery for a minute. So I've talked to a lot of archers. I've done bow hunting myself. I haven't been very successful at it. Of course, we've all watched lots and lots and lots of footage of bow hunting on hunting shows. And while archery is a very deadly, very efficient, and very challenging way to hunt a big game animal, it's not a particularly good method when we're talking about hunting on these small parcels. And the reason is you could have pieces of land adjacent to the parcel that you're hunting on where the owner, you might not know the owner, or the owner frowns upon hunting, or they have small children, or whatever. And even though in this state, in Washington State, even if you shoot a deer with a bow and arrow and they go onto another neighbor's property and they expire there, you are legally obligated to go get that animal. The problem is sometimes you'd have to get the police involved to help you access the property. It can get nasty if you have neighbors who view hunting as something abhorrent. So, around here or in other places where they hunt with shotguns, they do a lot of shotgun hunting, like I said, down in the south of southern United States. They use buckshot and shotgun. They use a lot of shotgun in the Midwest. But also here, in a place like this, a shotgun would be an excellent idea because when you hit a deer with this shotgun, it's going to put it down, and it's going to put it down quickly. And that way you don't have the animal running onto adjacent pieces of property. A shotgun is also short range. It's very safe. It would be great for this kind of hunting where you're in maybe a 20 to 25 maximum 30-yard shot. So I want to talk about these particular types of shot shells today that we're going to take a look at. Okay, let's take a look at one of these shells. So these shells are made by Federal, and they are only 1 3/4 inches. They're this big. Not very big. And the problem is most shotguns will not cycle these reliably. So if you were going to use them for a self-defense round or something like that, it wouldn't be appropriate. But I do have a Savage 320 Stevens, and it was purported to be able to cycle these Shorty shot shells without a hiccup. And they actually do in that shotgun. And I've heard of a couple other pump shotguns will also cycle these. But you wouldn't have to use a pump shotgun. You could use a single shot. Or you could just take your pump shotgun and use it as a single shot. You can see the slug right there. And like I said, these are a 1 ounce slug moving at between 1,150 feet per second to 1,200 feet per second. And a very popular hunting round is the 44 Magnum, and they will use that. A lot of people use that in a pistol for 50 yards or less. Some people will use it in a rifle, a 44 Magnum. A lot of deer have fallen to a 44 Magnum, and one of the most popular hunting rounds for a 44 Magnum is a 240 grain bullet that they shoot at approximately 1,180 feet per second. And that particular round will produce about 741 foot-pounds. Well, a 1 ounce slug is about approximately 435 to 437 grains. Right? The 44 mag was shooting at 240 grain. We're talking about 437 grains at 1,150 feet per second. That produces approximately 1,397 foot-pounds, and that's at the muzzle. So there's no reason why this wouldn't be a viable hunting load, especially if you were going to use it where you didn't want the slug to travel very far. You knew maybe that you were going to be in a tree stand or in a blind, and your shots were going to be at 25 yards or less. That's a very typical scenario when people are hunting these small pieces of land, these small pieces of property. So let's go ahead and take a look at some video footage of how this thing shoots and cycles out of a Savage Stevens 320 pump shotgun.
Good.
Okay, today we're going to try these Federal 1 3/4 inch Shorty shot shells. These are rifled slugs. They're not supposed to cycle in a pump shotgun. I tried cycling these in this new Savage Stevens 320 and they cycled fine, but will they cycle after we fire them? Let's see. Okay, here we go. I'm going to aim at that white piece of paper. We're at about, I don't know, 8 yards. So what did we learn? You just watched me shoot and cycle 4 shells, 4 of these mini shells through the Savage 320, and they went through without a hiccup. No problem at all. So that's probably the particular shotgun. I also was careful not to short stroke it. I was very intentional when I pumped the shotgun, but they seem to work fine. But regardless, whether they cycle or not, they could still be a viable hunting round for short range purposes like we're talking about. Let's take a look at my son Max shooting at about 20 yards at a soda bottle with one of these slugs, just to prove at 20 yards it's got some power. Let's take a look. There we go. Whoa. All right, it was quite dramatic. You saw what happened to the pop bottle. But even, you know, shooting pop bottles is not the same as shooting deer. And even though I've crunched the numbers and that this has a lot of foot-pounds of energy and it's far more powerful than a 44 Magnum handgun or rifle even, until you test it on a deer, you really don't know. So I'm looking for reports or comments from anybody who've used these Shorty shells at short range on deer-sized game and how they performed. I've seen plenty of deer shot with full-size slugs and 1 1/4 ounce slugs, and I've seen how they perform. A lot of times when you see a slug and you pull a slug out of a deer, there's a big donut hole in the center of it, and it's a big ring of lead. And there is so much wallop that even though it's soft lead and you may not get complete penetration, it's very similar to when you shoot a deer with, like, let's say a muzzleloader. I used to muzzleload hunt with a 405 grain bullet. And even if I wouldn't get complete penetration, the amount of force that hit that animal, you could hear the just the collapse of the animal, and it would drop, it would hit. There's just so much power that even if you don't get a complete penetration, and even if it is soft lead, it destroys the vitals, and the amount of energy just knocks the animal down. So I'm going to be looking for reports on how this works. I'm going to go out and hopefully try to use it to harvest a deer here on the island or somewhere close. Where I hunt blacktail, most of the time I'm using a rifle and the shots can be long, but there's sometimes where I'm hunting the timber where using a slug or even using double-aught buck might be a good idea. So I hope this helped you become a better hunter, and if you have any comments, please leave them down below, and if you like my content and my channel, please subscribe. Have a great day.